What's up, guys? Welcome back to The Right Side. Today, I want to talk about the Electoral College and democracy. To me, a select number of positions are red flags for someone's ignorance on a topic. Common ones include wanting to ban semi-automatic weapons and wanting a higher minimum wage. Even more of a red flag than these is believing the Electoral College should be abolished. Much like the reckless advocacy for the dissolution of the Constitution, these people don't know why the Constitution or Electoral College exists, instead wanting to virtue signal their support for democracy and equality. To start off, I want to dispel the notion that democracy is inherently a good thing. The will of the people is not always just or moral. As the saying goes, democracy is two wolves and a sheep voting on what's for dinner. Democracy is a 51% majority voting to genocide to 49%. Democracy is not good. The individual's political power should be as diluted as possible at the state or federal level. We dilute the individual's power by redirecting their voting power from a specific policy to a representative. This fosters compromise and forces the representative to be a mosaic of policy positions, so much so that it is incredibly rare that you ever find a single political candidate who is 100% representation of your political profile. This is great, as it creates systemic political barriers in front of the individual's political will, preventing them from directly voting against their neighbor's rights. It's actually for this reason that I believe that ballot initiatives, which are a form of direct democracy, are examples of just lazy representatives. We live in a constitutional republic. This means that our country functions through the will of an elected body of representatives who vote in the interests of their constituents and are governed and structured by a set of rules and order called the Constitution. The U.S. Constitution is the single greatest guarantor of political freedom ever created by man. The U.S. Constitution serves not as a list of privileges that we can have, but it as a document designed to hold the government back. The American governmental system is designed for the congressional gridlock, when there are bare majorities to prevent one house of Congress from steamrolling the other. Only when a large swath of the country elects a sizable majority across the presidency and both chambers of Congress do you see agendas largely get pushed through. The gridlock, as mentioned earlier, although frustrating on both sides, incentivizes compromise against the alternative of nothing happening. This type of federalism, where governmental powers are relegated to the states courtesy of the 10th Amendment, creates the need for electoral college. Legislatively, the Senate and the House provide great equity in representing nationwide interests when it comes to balancing populations and states. The House represents the nation's population, and the Senate represents the state's interests, ensuring that California doesn't experience lopsided influence over South Dakota, which it does in one chamber of Congress, the House, but not in the Senate. If you want direct change to happen with the least amount of barriers, pay close attention to your local and mayoral races. Local races are the closest to a direct democracy you'll get outside of a ballot initiative. Direct democracy is a system of government in which decisions are made directly by the people rather than their elected representatives. The Electoral College balances out state power in two ways. Number one, the electoral votes are distributed based on the census numbers, with a marginal rate of return. This means that as you gain more population, it becomes harder to gain more electoral votes. Thus, smaller states have more power via population divided by electoral votes. This means that a state like North or South Dakota, both having 3 electoral votes, have more of a per capita electoral vote power than, say, California. Number two is what often makes it nearly impossible for any multi-party system to work in this country. Each state is a winner-take-all race. This is why Democrats can often win the popular vote while still losing the Electoral College. Cities tend to have larger margins, and because they have larger populations, they tend to pile on with the numbers over what is really needed. For example, California has lots and lots of people, but only needs 51% of the vote to win the whole state. Therefore, if California won by 20 to 25 points, those extra 12 or 15 points above that 50 don't really add to the victory anymore. Once you hit 51%, it's over. This is why popular vote margins may look more misleading than electoral votes. The Electoral College system also brings about the existence of swing states, which change every couple of election cycles. For example, if you told someone back in 2000 that Florida would be basically a Republican stronghold, they would have laughed in your face. The same thing goes with Ohio. Ohio is a perennial bellwether swing state, but is now on pace to vote for Trump by 8 to 10 points. In what was considered the blue wall for Democrats, the Rust Belt states are now perennial swing states. Meanwhile, Arizona was a long-held Republican state until Democrats flipped it these past few election cycles. They have now become a swing state. The same goes for Colorado, which was a swing state for a while but ultimately went far left. These are just a few examples of swing states changing and morphing throughout the years. Electoral votes being allocated oppositely according to population means more power and attention are focused on smaller states. Pennsylvania has fewer people and votes than, say, New York, California, Texas, and Florida, but is by far the most important state in this year's election. Add in the fact that many of these swing states are heavily diverse in demographics and geography geography. Get rid of the Electoral College, and candidates don't have much incentive to go outside of the cities, staying in urban areas and not caring much about the suburbs or rural aspects. However, Iowa was a big swing state for some time, and Iowa was very rural. The Electoral College system was designed to be as far from a direct democracy as possible, which is brilliant. The United States is not a nation state. It is a country made up of 50 different, very diverse states. Each state has a right to its own self-autonomy, which is crucial to the idea of federalism. The Electoral College respects those rights beautifully and recognizes them as such. Suppose we were to get rid of the Electoral College. In that case, we might as well eliminate the idea of having states altogether, where Congress has a House and the Senate, as previously mentioned, designed to appeal to both types of interests while ensuring that one doesn't overpower the other. The Electoral College balances the power and influence that a larger state should have, and ensures that they have the appropriate level of influence, but not enough to outshine someone else. Democrats want to get rid of the Electoral College because they know that they can just bulldoze the country with the cities. Without the Electoral College, there would be no need to go to Wisconsin, Michigan, Nevada, Arizona, Pennsylvania, or North Carolina. These are all small states compared to some of the other big ones, especially like Nevada and Wisconsin and even Arizona. This is also why the Democrats are importing en masse illegal immigrants to this country. While legally none of these illegal immigrants can vote, we all know that they will find a way past it. All you have to do is look at California's most recent law that bans any local election from requiring ID to vote. Contrast that with a state like Virginia, which is state ID, paper ballots, same-day voting and counting on election day, and one-day voting, the whole 9 yards. People may not understand that bringing people into the country impacts the census numbers, which then impacts the electoral vote distribution amongst the states. If you shuttle these immigrants to places like Chicago, LA, New York, etc., Democratic strongholds, well then California, Illinois, and New York will benefit from that and thus gain electoral votes. And if you don't believe that there are ways in Democrat states or Democratic secretaries of states, in swing states or states that are remotely close can get legal immigrants to vote, and for it to count, then I have a bridge to sell you. This is why, and I think it's genius, Trump's campaign messaging surrounding voting is swamp the vote and too big to rig. One of the biggest questions I had about Trump's campaign strategy was how he would ensure that 2020 doesn't happen again, because he, as we all know, makes a big issue about how rife fraud was in the 2020 election. If that's true, and you haven't been able to be put into place to change those laws, how will this time be any different? I had a big issue with Trump's campaign going into this election cycle, but Trump has positioned this election and voting brilliantly, with swamp the vote and too big to rig, under the idea that if you could overwhelm the ballot box with Republican voters and Trump votes, then the margin of error, where cheating in his eyes could be possible, shrinks dramatically to almost zero. If Trump wins the state by 5 points, then there's almost no opportunity for fraud like in a state with a 2-point margin. In the end, the Electoral College serves as a crucial safeguard in preserving the balance of power between states and ensuring that large urban centers do not drown out the votes of the smaller, less populous areas. It's designed as a testament to the founders' understanding of human nature and the dangers of democracy, where majority rule can easily turn into tyranny over the minority. By diluting the political power of individuals and focusing on a representative system, the Electoral College prevents any one group from dominating national politics, forces compromise, and fosters a government built on checks and balances. Removing the Electoral College would undermine these protections and turn a country into a playground for populous cities, erasing federalism's importance and individual states' autonomy. As frustrating as the system may sometimes seem, it plays a critical role in maintaining the careful equilibrium upon which our republic is built. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the like button. If you'd like to support and help the channel grow, please subscribe and ring the bell to be updated with all my uploads. Finally, whether you agree or disagree, leave your thoughts in the comment section below. I look forward to engaging with you guys in respectful and thoughtful discussions. With that said, I'll see you guys next video. See ya.